Hi everyone, welcome to It's Your Life, Your Way. I'm Jeanette Larsen, your host from Growth Unlimited, and today we're going to be talking about how you can tell whether someone is well along the way in the process of self-actualization. We've been doing some videos on self-actualization over the last week or so, and I've had some questions about it. People are intrigued with the idea of gaining control of their lives and meeting their full potential, but a lot of people are really nervous about the process and is it possible? And what we're going to talk about today is what you can notice in yourself and in other people who are involved in that process, and it will help you measure what you need to do to move further along that pathway. So, there are 8 different characteristics of people who are self-actualized that we're going to talk about today. This is one of many because self-actualization is a process that is a lifelong process. It's not something that you ever fully achieve, because every time you achieve a specific level towards reaching your self-actualization, there's always more in front of you. We as creatures are never satisfied with what the end result is. We can always see a way to make things better. And that is part of the process of life and process of self-actualization. So, one of the things that you can do is measure whether you or somebody else that you know is working towards achieving those goals. And that's what we're talking about today. So the 8 things that we're going to talk about, I'm going to go through them one by one, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they mean. And then you can take a look at your life and the lives of the people that you care about to see where everybody is according to these 8 characteristics. Okay, the first one is people who are self-actualized have a tendency to stay in the present. They don't do a lot of reflecting back about the past or looking forward to the future. They focus on the here and now and get everything they can out of that particular instant in their lives. Abraham Maslow, the theorist who created the theory of self-actualization, used to say that self-actualization means experiencing fully, vividly, selflessly, with full concentration and total absorption, without the self-consciousness of the adolescent. Now, this means that when you think about an adolescent, typically people in that stage of their lives are trying to seek out the limits and the parameters of what they need to do in order to have an effective adult life. And so there's a lot of testing, there's a lot of checking. Adolescents that I've worked with over the years typically are asking me, what do you think? Is this the thing I should do? And it's all part of the process of self-actualization for them as well. But if you find yourself as an adult spending a lot of time worrying about what other people think about what you're doing, then maybe you need to focus a little bit more on what you believe you should be doing and what you value, what is important to you in terms of the kind of life you want to have. Okay, the second characteristic is being people who are self-actualized are aware of the different choices that they have. And they can analyze those by being able to look for different alternatives of things they can do. When they're faced with a problem, they don't go just one direction to solve it. They look for different things that can be done to make the process of the problem solving easier or more effective or faster or whatever it may be. They also understand whether they can analyze what their choice is in terms of how it's going to solve the problem, and whether it actually meets their needs, because lots of times we will find ourselves in a situation where we make a choice to solve a problem that does not meet our needs. Thinking of an example here, for example, I'll go back to my favorite, people who get on Facebook and complain about political figures that they don't like. They typically call them names. They sometimes use inappropriate language to express their anger and frustration. And this is their method for trying to solve the problem. And when I have questioned these people about what they got out of it, I typically hear, well, I can't get anything anyway, so I'm going to do this. And I just wonder if that is really, if they're really aware of how effective or ineffective that choice is. To me, it seems very ineffective because it's not solving the problem. It's not going to create a solution. They may be able to vent and get rid of some of the frustration for a few minutes, but it doesn't, the problem doesn't go away. Someone who is self-actualized is going to be more willing to take a look at other alternatives, things that they can do that will be appropriate and helpful in resolving the situation without causing undue harm to anyone. And so if you, people who are more self-actualized are more capable of finding those solutions. Okay, the third thing is a self-actualized person has a tendency to be aware of who they are and what they're feeling. They don't need to ask other people how they should feel or think. They can examine their internal self. They understand their values and their beliefs, and they understand how those values and beliefs serve them. They're also always open to seeking new knowledge and new ways to make their lives better. Okay, and the fourth item is people who are self-actualized are honest. You can rely on them to say what is the truth for them or what they mean most of the time. I say most of the time because they are able to temper that direct honesty, which can be very, very cruel in certain situations, to be socially acceptable. So, for example, they don't deliberately say something mean to someone, say somebody has toilet paper on their shoe. They're not going to walk up to that person and say, hey, you've got toilet paper on your shoe. They might walk up and say, hey, is there something on your shoe? Or if they feel a need, or if it's not that big a deal to them, they will walk away from it and not engage in it at all. But you can trust them. You know where you stand with them. And so if you are trying to look at that piece of your self-actualization, check yourself out. Can you be trusted that way? Do people understand and know where they're going to stand with you? And if that's not something you feel comfortable with at this point in time, maybe it's something you need to take a look at and address. Okay, number 5. People who are self-actualized are not super worried about conforming to other people's ideas. They rely on their own judgments. They know who they are, they know what they stand for, and they're willing to take the responsibility for those choices. They know how best to meet their own needs, and they remain within that value system that they've set up for themselves. Okay, number 6. A person who is self-actualized continues to work on self-actualization on a continuous basis. They're actively involved in the process. They don't sit back and just wait for it to happen or look to somebody else to do it for them. Okay, and number 7, people who are self-actualized recognize peak experiences. And peak experiences are the experiences that are really, really good in your life, that are actually showing that you're meeting the goals that you have for yourself, whether they are goals in the way you behave, goals in the way you feel, goals in the way you interact with other people, or goals in the way you deal with the situations that occur in your life. And you can recognize when those peaks are there. You can also recognize when the valleys are there. And you don't spend a lot of time perseverating on the valleys, on the low end of the scale. Instead, you focus on moving towards the peaks, and once you achieve them, learning from them and enjoying the benefits that you gain from them. Okay, and the last and most, and I think in some ways the most important of all of these characteristics we're talking about today, is that the self-actualized person recognizes that they have personal psychopathology, and they prepare for it. So each one of us have certain things that we're not as strong with in our lives as we are with other things. Some of us engage in mechanisms to deal with those problems in ways that are not the most productive. And that goes back to the second characteristic, being able to be aware of your choices, and the third characteristic, being getting to know yourself. Actually, it goes back to just about everything we've talked about here. But if you are preparing for your psychopathology, that is, if you know there are certain situations where you may not be as assertive, or you struggle with time issues, and you feel frustrated and pressured when you have to be somewhere at a specific time, or you have difficulty with authority. You don't like people telling you what you have to do. If you are actively involved in self-actualization, you prepare for those situations and decide ahead of time how you're going to handle them and what you're going to do with them. And then you do it. And you don't spend a lot of time wasting time ruminating on the fact that you have to do it. You just simply do it and get the job done so that you can get on to something that you do want to do. That is called taking control of your life, and that's part of self-actualization. So, these are the 8 characteristics we've talked about today. Check them out for yourself and see where you stand on them. If you want more information, check us out at www.growthunlimited.org, and also at our new Growth University site. I'll post the links below the video, and also there will be a link at the end of the video that you can actually click on to go to either or both of those locations. So thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you. Growth Unlimited's mission is to help you have your life your way. We want to help you take control of your life so that you live the life you've dreamed of, that you deserve. We have a proprietary program that helps you do just that. Check us out by visiting our website and take our free assessment to see how we can help you.